Hi everyone, it's Penny Black and Jill Foster here with another PB&J card class. And today I have another one of Penny Black's new edger dies that I am just in love with. This is the Hugs edger die and we're going to be making a card with this die. So if you didn't see my other video with the Love Edger die, be sure to check that out. I'll try to remember to put a link down in the YouTube description box for you. But I'm following a similar layout here. So I am using Penny Black's 51-761 Hugs Edger, and I am combining this with 30-588 Huggable. These two go so well together if you're looking for sort of secondary sentiments to go with that large Hugs word. And I've grabbed a favorite floral stamp from my stash, 30-904 Poise. So I've went ahead and cut the hugs and that border, that edger part, and I am stamping the sentiment here from that Huggable clear set. And I'm keeping that singular word hugs there while I'm positioning everything so I don't end up stamping something and having it under like the loop of the G there. So this is hugs, the shortest distance between friends. Such a really great sentiment and card to send anytime to a friend. And I want to do some no line coloring. So I am stamping using Distress inks onto Canson 140-pound watercolor paper using my MISTI stamp positioning tool. Then I also took my ink pad and pressed it onto acrylic block, and I can use that to add darker shading. So I'm just adding a little water to sort of blur and blend the ink that's there. Distress ink is a water soluble ink, so that allows me to go ahead and blend that. And then I'm picking up just a little bit of that ink from my acrylic block just to darken things up. Now I haven't moved my stamp or my paper in that stamp positioning tool, so I can go back and stamp other portions like the stems in a little bit. So I like to work section by section of the stamp, and I find that if I don't leave the ink on the paper too long, if I get to it pretty quickly, it's just a little bit easier to blend that before more of it has absorbed down into the paper. So that's why I'm just doing this set of flowers first, and then I'll go back and work on stems and leaves. Now I decided I wanted just a little bit more of a lighter blue in there, so I pressed the Broken China Distress ink onto my acrylic block, and I'm just dropping a little bit of that onto those flowers. You can see they're just very easy to paint and just a charming little flower. Now all of the exact colors and supplies that I'm using on this card are listed for you down in the YouTube description box below, and all of the Penny Black supplies are listed and linked to our online store down in that YouTube description box below. So I'm going to make sure here that this is dry so that I don't end up blending all of these different sections together. And now I am going to ink up the leaves, and you can see I can take that little mini distress ink, just turn it to the side and get it where I want it. Now a little bit did go onto one of the flowers, and I just wipe that off with my fingertip. So I've stamped that, I've pressed some of that ink onto that acrylic block, and then I am just blending it with some water and adding in a little bit more so that it doesn't get too washed out. I think these are just such a light and fresh flowers. Now I do find with this Hugs Edger die, it really does the designing for you. So if you have some flower stamps that you just love, if you have this Hugs Edger, you could do multiple cards like this with that Hugs and then one of those fun secondary sentiments, and then just stamp lots of flowers in different ways down below. And if you stay tuned at the end of this video, I will give you some other ideas and card samples and ideas for using this Hugs Edger die. Now here for the flower centers, I'm just using a Tombow marker just because that's a little bit easier to get into that section of the flower with the tip of the marker as opposed to an ink pad. Now I'm using those same blues to paint the word hugs, because what I'm doing is kind of following a formula. I want the flowers and the word hugs to be the same color, and then I will add some butterflies and some background inking in the same color, and then everything looks very nicely balanced. And that'll make a little more sense, I think, as we go on. But I went ahead and painted that so it would be exactly the same color as those flowers. And then I will add that to that panel. And you can see there that has that edger, that border cut, and the word hugs just fits perfectly up in there. Now I've grabbed 71-731 Soaring for some butterflies. I love this set for little butterflies. And I'm going to ink them with some purple distress inks. Again, the exact colors will be listed down in the YouTube description box below. I'm just using an ink blending tool and a foam pad. So this is sort of like the second color. I've got the blues of the flowers that matches the word hugs, and I'm going to add in this purple to the color scheme. Just kind of even this out. I just stuck them on some painter's tape there to make them easier to hold on to. And now I have this background panel that I'm going to use those same colors to apply the ink, starting off of the edge and working my way on in a circular motion. And now this will perfectly coordinate with those butterflies. So it's kind of like a little formula you can use to design the cards and have some nice balance. I just added the butterflies on. I added the main panel with some foam squares, and then this went onto a standard A2 size card, 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. Now here is another card, sort of following that same formula. I used the blues on the butterflies and that background inking, and then the red to match up with the red on the flowers down below. And I used that huggable sentiment, so hugs, hope you felt the squeeze on this card as well. Now I find this hugs edger just so versatile and fun to use. So I've got some other cards with this that are of the more cute variety, so you can use it with more elegant floral cards or with your critters. And here I've cut that hugs edger down lower on my standard size card and added my critters above the word hug, so the focal point is above that die cut word. Here I've sort of made the critter and that die cutting of the word hugs more interactive, like he's just running along that word hugs. And then here I've used that word hugs to sort of tuck my focal point behind that and add some die cut elements from the side. So you can see it's just a really handy die that helps you get a lot of use out of stamps you may already have in your stash. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also connect with Penny Black on Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter, as well as Instagram, our website, and blog. And again, all of those are linked down in the YouTube description box below. Happy stamping!